Welcome back to the Rebrand. We are back with another episode. I think this is episode 4.
This will be episode 5.
Episode 5.
Yeah.
Excuse
Wow.
me. Episode 5.
Time flies.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So we are, Pastor Andy here with you, Harrison and Javier. And Harrison, tell us who our special guest is today.
Yeah, so we are being blessed by having several guests, and I talked to Jeremy this week, and I asked him if he could join us. You guys are in for a treat. God is doing great things in the younger generation right now. So Jeremy over here, he's I met him last year, and God is doing tremendous things in his life. And I know you a little bit, and I don't know you that much, but I want us and hopefully the whole world to know, who you are and how came to your life, or you came to his life, in a sense. So tell us your name and a little bit about you, and we'll start kick it off.
Give
in
us
a
the
minute.
vital stats.
So, my name is Jeremy Lacsa. I'm from the Philippines. Sorry, I'm just kind of nervous.
Good,
No,
bro.
it's all right.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm from the Philippines.
Born there?
I was born in the Philippines.
Yeah.
We moved over here about 2013, July 1st, 2013. I still remember that
Okay.
day.
So how old are you?
Right now I'm 23.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was born in the Philippines. We moved over here. My grandma and some of my uncle, like 2 uncles actually, was living over here. They migrated here, and for them, life was kind of hard. And so my grandma found a way to get us here in America. Through that, she so yeah, she found her husband, her one true love. So yeah, so we moved over here, and it was a culture shock. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
You're 11, 12? Is that about who you're?
yeah, I was about like 12, I think.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
12, yeah. So because like August 4th is my birthday, so yeah, about 12.
Did you speak English there anymore? There at all? Or
No.
this is completely new
This is
language,
completely-
culture, everything?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. So yeah, like I said, we moved over here. It was everything was new. I wasn't used to like whatever is happening here in America. Like, I'll be honest with you. So I want to start off with food. It was over here in America. It's a really big portion.
Yeah.
Right. A really big portion, and
Did you at least like it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. First thing we went to is McDonald's.
Now,
So
is there McDonald's in Philippines? Because I know they're all over the world. So is
they
there
are.
one?
They are.
But it's different menu.
Very
probably,
different.
yeah.
Very different.
Yep,
So
yep.
when we're talking about food, there's rice on the menu. Chicken, especially,
Yeah.
fried chicken,
Mhm.
rice.
Yeah.
Major culture shock. So,
Wow.
so yeah.
Wow. First thing was McDonald's.
First thing was McDonald's.
Yes.
But yeah, so it was me, my dad, my older sister, to my younger sibling. So I didn't know how to speak English. It was so July 1st, and then I think it was like August, right? So I didn't know nothing about America. We only see them in movies, right? So
Yeah.
we would kind of like imitate whatever we see in the movies. SpongeBob,
Yeah.
what have you. Sorry if I'm getting lost track, okay?
No,
No, dude. Hey, let
Yeah,
it fly, man.
So, different world. I didn't know how to speak English. SpongeBob movies and what have you. But the thing that got me the most is watching this movie about Jesus Christ, right? So
So back home, you didn't know your family aren't Christians.
we're actually Catholic.
Okay.
We're Catholic.
All your
So
family is
all my
Catholic.
family, yeah. None of us are because in the Philippines there's multiple religions, right? So there's Muslims. Um, I've never heard of Christianity.
Wow.
Never heard of it.
Wow.
So Catholic, and every Sunday, from base like from what I know now, every Sunday we would go to church. Um, it was just like I felt like I never belonged there.
Mhm.
Like I don't know,
Mm.
because they're teaching something that kind of like, I don't think God would want that. I'm not one to decide, right?
But you knew like there was something that was like there's
Yeah, there's
more.
something in me, right?
Yeah.
So, we stopped going to church or like cathedral or something.
a mass or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
So,
Why did your family stop?
good question. It was it, it was a weird feeling. Like like I never belonged there. So it was like I didn't know how to explain that feeling, but like something was telling me you don't belong there, and like the people, like Filipino people aren't they're very nice, they're very kind, but in that church, that specific church, in Cavite or Manila, um, there's a church over there, very very old church, beautiful church, right? Um, but for some reason, I never felt that I belong there.
Mm.
Like it was mostly like they're teaching something that was like, huh? Because we, I've never heard of a Bible. I'll be honest with you. No, so like we don't have in my household we have Bible, but we never read it, right?
Yeah.
Old Testament and New Testament. So we have the Old Testament. My mom would always tell us like pray, 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 right? I was a kid. I didn't know, you know.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah, because there's no
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah.
There's no technology.
Wow.
We didn't have cable or
Yeah.
AC. We didn't have none of that. We only have stove powered by gas,
Mm.
water, running water from the well, and cleaning the house.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, when we got here, very very different world.
So you got here to in Indianapolis, or you go somewhere else?
So first it was in order for a visa holder to travel or something along that line is that you get approved by the U.S. Embassy over there, and then you go to the airport. Of course, they check your passport, what have you, any kind of legal paper,
Yeah.
and then you travel from there to Japan. Japan, it's a pretty cool place.
Yeah.
Right. From Japan, you go to Detroit. There, we got hold up for about 3-4 hours, just trying to like tell us like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Like, what's your purpose? Oh, okay, cool. Um, there's this one story. A TSA came up to us. We didn't know how to speak English. We didn't know. The only thing we know is yes and no, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we came. This TSA officer, I think, he came by. He was like, "So where you guys from?" I was like,
Yes.
"Oh," I was like, So we're looking at my dad, looking
Yeah.
at my sister, because at the time my sister is the only person that could barely speak English.
Yeah.
So he said, "Oh, where you guys from?" So my sister told him, and then like he was like, "One sec, guys." So he came around the whatever office he was in. He came back with like pudding and like some bread, some like granola bars and stuff. So I was like,
Wow.
"Eat this? Can you just crack it open?" So yeah, we got we got held up over there for 4 hours, and then we finally got here in Indy. Yeah.
Wow.
So you had your grandma was already here.
She was
Yeah.
well, first she was in California like in the 80s and
Yeah.
early 2000s, right?
Mm.
And then she moved here in Indiana. She got a house in West Side.
Yeah.
And then she moved in with her husband in Carmel. So yeah, long story short, we we got here July 1st, and then about a month after, we were living with my grandma. But my dad and my sister was like, "Hey, we have to have our own because new world, new you, new identity, maybe."
Yeah.
So we got an apartment right down the street, actually, from here. And I thought that getting an apartment means you have a house. I didn't know, like, after a year you're supposed to move out. So we got there, no furniture. I was like, okay, you know, you've lived in the Philippines, like you know how it goes. There's no furnitures over there. You're sitting, you're sleeping on the ground, right? So a couple of days, there's a big truck came by, and he was just kind of like, "Hey, here's furnitures, yada yada yada." Okay, cool. So they moved the furnitures inside the house and TVs. That's when I got to watch the
SpongeBob and all that.
SpongeBob and all that.
Yeah.
The thing that caught my eye, literally, I was like 12 years old, and it was like 2 a.m. on summer, like July 7th. I remember that. July 7th, 2 a.m. I was watching Nickelodeon, Nick at Night. Yeah, I was Nick at Night.
Night.
So I was watching that, and then I kind of like got tired of it. I was like, change channel. But it was like when we moved here, our TV was like this big. It wasn't that flat. It wasn't flat, right? It was
Yeah.
like this massive box.
Right.
So we got there, and I changed the channel, and it was I saw I think it was like episode or something, but I saw Jesus. That's the first thing I noticed was Jesus, and
How did you know it was Jesus? I mean, it was
in the movie. It was in that part where he was carrying the cross. He had the crown, bloodied, and he was just carrying the cross.
Yeah.
At the time, it angered me.
Mm.
I was like, why would I do that? Why would I do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the the thing about that movie that really kind of changed my perspective about religion for now, right?
Mm.
Was he was at the cross, and the two thieves, right? One of them asked, like, will you be, can I be with you in paradise?
Right.
And the other one asked, like, you know, ask your God or whatever to save us.
Yes.
The thing he said, if you believe in me, right, you'll go to paradise.
Yeah.
And before that he said, I said, Father, forgive me, for they don't know what they're doing.
Forgive them.
Yeah, forgive them.
Yep.
Yeah, forgive them.
Yep.
And I was like, after that, I slept.
Wow.
Right, I slept, and then I was mostly it was mostly self taught. Yeah. So
Do you remember what movie that was? Was it Passion of the Christ?
yeah, I think it was Passion of
Passion
the
of the
Christ.
Christ. That's what I thought
was-
when you said the crown, and not a lot of. I mean, there's been Jesus movies. There was one from I don't know the late '70s. I think I think it was called Jesus. And there's been other stuff since, but that one was it was pretty fast.
It made me
the
cry,
time
though.
frame. Oh yeah, it's
It made me
powerful.
cry.
So, question. Sorry, when you saw this, obviously you have some Catholic background. You recognize this as Jesus,
Yes.
but this was like
Yes.
the first time you had experienced like what Jesus did on the cross, like and understood.
Yep.
Click
'Cause-
for you. Yeah.
Like I said, in the Philippines, there's multiple dialects, right? So the one that we went to is a like a normal one, but the Old Testament in the Filipino version, in Tagalog, is it's there's a deep words that I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like the image, the image of Jesus for me was, he's just a son of God, like, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, he believes in God. He spread the word. That's the only thing I know. because of the image that we never read the Bible, but we have Bible at home. You know, like
Yeah.
there's Bible at home, but we never read it.
Well,
Yeah.
isn't that a very Catholic thing too? Like they don't take it in history and theology classes. It's not really encouraged like personal Bible study or personal Bible reading. At least in the Catholic Church, isn't really encouraged like the priests tell you what it says, and you hear that in mass, but it's not like in the American culture or even in evangelical Protestantism. It's there's Bible study, there's personal Bible study, there's individual Bible study, there's small groups, there's all these things. And was that your experience with it, or was it just something you guys just didn't do?
The thing about that is that it was just, I don't know, but we like I said, at home we have a Bible, but we never read it because I feel like the the priests are only the only people that can read them.
Yeah.
Right. So the image of Jesus was never really in my head. That.
Yeah.
But what I saw in that movie, I was like, wow, he did this.
And it made
This is crazy.
it made you angry, like
It made me angry,
that people were doing that. Like what made you angry? And just side note for those on YouTube, camera one is down for us. We have a cable issue, so it's down, but we're gonna continue, so you guys can still hear us, and we can still see you. So that's important. Jeremy,
You're the most important one.
Jeremy. So it made you angry. Like, what made you angry?
Because like I said, the image was of Jesus was like he's the perfect, right? But they never told. I never got to hear the story where he sacrificed himself for me, right? And it angered me because like, why are they doing it to him? Like he did so right to so many people, but instead they crucified him.
Yeah.
They tortured him, and it angered me. Like why? Like imagine if I was in there. Like that was my mentality. You know.
Would I be doing the same thing, or would I not?
Like,
yeah.
I was like, I kind of want to punch those soldiers that was trying to do that to him.
Yeah.
I was like, but the image of Jesus was never really, it never recurred to me.
Yeah.
Like
So from there and on, your dad, your family, do you guys start going to church, or how did you get?
How do you get to church? Being from a Catholic background, how does that happen that you end up going to a Protestant or Christian church?
So how did you find that a person or someone who led you to Christ and to let you to understand? Was it then when you were 12, or did you take a process?
The most impactful thing that happened to me was that movie, right? And then like I was very afraid to read the Bible. Like I felt like I wasn't worthy. I felt like I wasn't good enough. Like I felt like everything that I touch is sinful, right? Like I'm a sinful. Everything I touch that is water will turn black, right?
Wow.
So I felt like that, and I was like, I can never read the Bible. So fast forward, middle school. I'll make this short. Middle school was like I pray, like I pray every now and then. The first time I prayed was a Thursday night going to Friday. I was like, God, please, like, don't let nothing bad happen to me today. So that, right? So that, it was my because in Creekside there was there's like seven sessions, right? In my 5th class, I was stabbed with a number 2 pencil on my side.
Why?
Wow.
I have no idea.
Wait. Hold. What do you mean you have no? Like somebody just out of nowhere? You're
Out
just
of
chilling,
nowhere.
doing your own life.
I was walking to my study hall, and for some reason, I felt very like I wasn't in pain, but I was most like, okay, like something's bothering me.
What just happened?
Yeah. So I was walking to my class and I was like, okay, that's weird. I looked at it. It was a very dark room. So I looked at it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's blood. That's blood, right?
Well, we're talking a number 2 pencil,
number two-
yellow,
A number 2
with
pencil,
a
yeah,
red
yellow.
eraser on it.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
so you said Creekside. Where I know this. Where's this at?
it's in I'll be honest with you. So Creekside is
West side? Is it
almost in West Side. Yeah.
west side of town?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
still Carmel.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, now, I was like, I kind of questioned whatever, like, what's happening to me.
Yeah.
Like, I tried to follow, but why? You know?
But why did it happen? Sorry, I can't
Oh,
get
you
past
good.
like what before you got there. Of like, God, why did this happen to me? Why did it happen? Like, did someone just? Who did it?
It's like a drive-by
I'll be-
shaking.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So I was like, okay, this is not good. And my theory was that, I never spoke English, and like people are very interested to know who I am.
Mm.
Like, oh, how can you speak English? Like, how do you speak English? And some stuff like that. And so I was getting pretty much most of the attention. And so I believe it was one of my classmates. That's it. Like, I'm not gonna blame anybody, but
Discover who it was or how it was, or so did they take you to the nurse's office, or?
the thing is, though, I told my teacher, I was like, hey, I'm bleeding and it's bleeding a lot. What do I do? And she said, go to the nurse. I was like, okay. So I didn't know where the nurse was. Like, I was like, I kind of want to explain to her, but I couldn't speak English. I was like, I kind of want to explain to her that I've been stabbed. I don't know where the nurse's office is.
So there's a language barrier right now. You're like
Yeah,
trying to
very.
explain, and you're stuck.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Okay.
it's
Okay.
like
very,
Okay.
very stuck.
Okay.
Right?
dire situation.
Right. So, yeah, after that, I got sent home because the nurses said, okay, that's kind of deep. That's very deep. Like, you can still see the pencil stain, like the graphite,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
You can still see it. And I got sent home, and for some reason I had a fever. Like, I don't know if it was just whatever it was, but I had a fever. At the time, my dad and my sister worked in the same company called Henry Schein. It's a warehouse.
Medical stuff.
So, kinda, I think so.
Yeah.
So they went over there. All right, they got home. But they got I didn't know this at the time, but they got a call from my grandma saying, "Oh, Jeremy was." I said, I picked him up from school because he was stabbed. So I was upstairs sleeping, and then my sister was so worried that she came running up the stairs. She was like, she pulled out my shirt, and it was still there, like it was packed with the Band-Aid, right? Because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So what she did was she took it off, grab a 97% isopropyl alcohol,
Oh.
and she was like, that was not.
You jumped out of that bed real quick.
Yep. It was like a adrenaline pump.
Oh.
Yeah. So I questioned what just happened to me,
Yeah.
and then from then on, like I kind of like disassociate myself from seeing seeing something amazing to like now I'm kind of like I'm a normal person, I'll say. Like, but after that, freshman came around because we moved a lot, right? We moved a lot. We went from Carmel to West Side, back to Carmel freshman year. Living over there in West Side in Guyan Creek as an 8th grader, because when you come here in America, you're not whatever grade you left in the Philippines is now that's your grade, right?
Yeah.
So I was in 7th grade, first year, second year, I was in 8th grade. Over there in Guyan, violence happened a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard anybody say bad words a lot as a kid. I never heard that before.
Yeah.
So, yeah, violence over there, but we got moved back over here my freshman year in Carmel High School. All right, so at this point, I've watched enough Dora the Explorer, SpongeBob. I've watched enough of that just to know just a little bit of English, right?
Conversational English. Yeah.
Because everyone at home still speaks the mother language.
the mother language. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
what is it? Filipino?
Tagalog.
Tagalog.
Yeah,
Oh, you said
Tagalog.
that. I'm sorry.
Freshman year, like I said, I've never been to any kind of school here in America, but people are a lot taller than me.
Yeah.
They're a lot taller than me too.
Andy, shut up.
Okay.
For
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, everybody
They
looks.
can't see the camera no more.
Camera 1 is down, but
Yeah.
Andy's
Praise God
yeah.
for that.
Yeah,
They
that
see
was
a
a
little
God
kid
thing.
over here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what are you talking? You don't know anything about that. Stop shaking your head.
You never been seen that look down.
I feel you, man. I feel your pain. You know.
But yeah, so people are a lot taller. I tried for basketball. Yeah, that didn't really work out.
I was
First
there,
day I
bro.
showed up. They're like, "How old are you?" I was like, I'm 16," and they were like, "You sure?" I was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, like I'm 16." And yeah, so 4 years of high school was very rough because there's a lot of stuff that happened. Throughout that 4 years it was mostly like questioning my existence or questioning my identity or like questioning God, which is bad, right? It's bad to question God, His purpose, but I did it because I was angry with myself. That's when I grew up to be angry, right? We're in this part of we're in this part of world now. We're in a different world, so everything is like new. So I was very angry with myself and with the people around me. I never like I was that one kid that would sit in a corner and like just be quiet, right?
Don't mess with me.
Yeah, I was one of those guys, but I wasn't very violent. I was just angry with myself.
Yeah.
Did you
rather be by yourself?
Do you have friends, Filipino community, or you're really an outcast? Like, there's not much Filipino community. It's just your family, and then you really don't have much friends at school. Like,
I never had all throughout that 4 years.
Wow.
Only had one friend, and he's from Egypt.
okay,
Yeah, his name is Mito,
okay,
and
Are you guys still friends today?
we're still friends today. Yeah, we're still friends today. He's great guy.
Yeah.
Like that guy, I've been through with that guy so many times. Like I felt like I couldn't live without him because like he always protects me. Like we always go somewhere. We do adventures.
That was your life raft.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But yeah, I never had friends, or I will say like people I hang out with. So I miss homecoming, prom, miss all those
Wow.
because I don't know like I never really associate myself with people because I felt like I was an outcast, right?
yeah.
I felt like I was an outcast. I felt like I never belonged anywhere. Like I felt like, okay, you know what's one thing? I turned myself to God. I turned myself to Jesus. I was like, let me retry.
When'd you make this decision? When did this happen?
So after
Because you're about freshman year, right? Or were you 10?
yeah,
Or high
okay,
school,
so freshman year was a rough year, and then transitioning from freshman to sophomore. Sophomore is I joined football.
Okay.
Right, I joined football, and
What position you playing?
I played safety.
Really nice, bro.
Yeah, I played
Really?
safety. Yeah,
Yeah.
that wasn't a good one. I was very small, like I said, tall guy, big guys.
But you played.
Like,
You got in at least.
I got in at least pretty much like probably like 10 plays before they were like,
it was better than basketball.
it's better than basketball because I really got to play.
Well, and you're not big. I mean, Carmel High School.
From Ohio,
I mean, that's 6A high school. You
Yeah.
know.
seriously.
Yeah.
I came over there like
Yeah.
this guy had a beard.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like,
Is he the coach?
but he was wearing a jersey, so I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But my football career ended, going to, third year.
Junior year.
Junior
year.
But my coach, Coach Hicks, he is my favorite person because, at the time, my family, my grandma, which is, at the time, I think she was our guardian. right? So she would take me to go practice. But at the time that but I think they got tired of me because like I was moving a lot. I was staying for a 2-day practice. I stay from like 7 in the morning until whatever time we get second session of the practice, right? He would give me food because I don't have a car. I was like 16, 17 at the time. I didn't have a car. Everybody else, their dad picking them up and like they have their own car. So he would always come to me and be like, "Hey, jelly sandwich and put some meat in those bones," because I was so skinny back then, 150. But yeah,
Wow.
he taught me a lot.
That's awesome.
That's when at that time, like every single Friday night we pray as a team, and during that time everybody would bow their head, and I'm the only guy that would look up because I felt like I hated myself at the time. Like violence was the answer for me. I played football.
You get to unleash some of the violence.
Right.
Exactly.
That was your driving force there.
But I never got to play.
I had to
So you kept that anger inside of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, everybody's bowing their head, and I'm just kind of like looking up and like looking at my coach. He's praying.
Wow.
And then I was like, I don't think this is a thing for me, right? Praying. So disassociate myself, but then like I messaged my coach. I was like, hey, I'm kind of like having like this thing. Like we're gonna be moving back. I don't think I'm gonna be able to join football for my junior year. He said, okay, that's the end of it, right? But we ended up moving back here in Carmel, still in Carmel High School, junior year, and from there I went on a downwards thing. My grades aren't doing good, but I picked up. So freshman, sophomore, my grades are pretty good. After like I felt like I questioned God too much. That it was like junior year is gonna be the bad year. I went on a down spiral. Man, oh man. I had my first job. Helping out, or I was working in senior living. So we're helping out. I was a server. At first, I was a dishwasher. Like I said, when I went like downwards, like I've washed dishes, but I never washed that much dishes in my life. So I was like, God, why do you hate me?
This is your junior year?
This is my junior year, yeah.
Wow.
That was when like my grades were failing badly. That was when like I'm getting Fs. Because like instead of like continuing my studies and have a little faith, I just kind of question everything. I question my existence. Why am I here? Right? Why am I here? And at the time I was very angry, and I didn't know what to do. I just worked. From at 17, I think by law, you can only work a certain amount of time, certain amount of hours.
Yeah.
Right.
I was working 50 hours per week, and yeah, so that I had to talk.
17-year-old.
Yeah, I had to talk with my counselor about that. She was like, "You can't do that. If you really want to work, when you get to your senior year, we have this program. I forgot JEL, J Everett Light or something like that. But you go to it's another high school, not too far from here exactly.
Okay,
we go there, but instead of me going there, I took this program where I can go straight to work, finish 40 hours.
Yeah.
That's my credit to graduate.
Yep.
So I did that. I didn't like it because I was in a downward spiral, problematic life. Like I said, this time I was questioning everything. Still questioning. Why?
And you're having to keep all this to yourself. Like you can't, even though your parents like it isn't there to where the relationship isn't there to where you can talk to them about it. Like it's not a.
So my mom was still in the Philippines at this time. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't add this, but the only people that moved over here with my grandma is me, my brother, my younger brother, my younger sister, my older brother, and my dad. So my mom and my dad were separated for about like 5 years, I think.
Okay.
No. years, I think, right? So for 3 years, it was hard because like I don't really talk to my dad. I don't really talk to my dad about some serious stuff. But
were you closer to your mom back
I
in
was
Philippines?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was closer to my mom, but she was very strict back then, super strict. But yeah, we never had a talk about problems. We mostly talk about fun stuff like what'd you do? What'd you do at school? Like what happened? We only talk about that, but
surface level stuff.
Surface
Didn't go
level
very
stuff.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to my dad once about this thing that happened. He freaked out. I feel like I'm not comfortable talking about that one thing, but
It's okay.
oh, it's okay.
Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah, and he
you
freaked
don't have
out.
to share anything you don't want to share.
Okay. So at this point, drinking, like alcohol, I'm getting kind of uncomfortable with it, but I have to talk about it. Alcohol at 18, hanging out with the wrong people. By wrong, I mean like people that do a lot of drinking, do a lot of staying overnight, and like trying to get wasted.
Yeah.
I felt like, oh, cool, like this is awesome, party every day.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, I need to change myself. Like about 2 years. So I graduated, and then 2019, and I was still working. Like I never thought about college. Never thought about it.
Okay.
Like at first I was like, when I was a sophomore, I was like, I'm gonna become a D1 player. You know, like I'm gonna be the first short guy to ever play in a like Purdue or something. And yeah, so I graduated. I think at the time I was working in another senior living, and I wasn't really making that much, as a person.
You still doing the same kind of job, like washing dishes, or
no?
You're doing something else.
Yeah, I was doing something else.
Yeah.
I get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But I met my girlfriend, right? So it was a hard. I'll say this. It was. She was very, very different person, right? She never liked me. That's when I'm like, I'm gonna question God one more time. Like I was like, God, is it is she the one? Right? Is she the one? I felt like I wasn't getting the right answer that I needed. Like I felt like it was like God is never gonna answer me because I question him too much.